two integers to find the quotient, and I'm going to have you take notes with the computer today, so we'll just run through setting up the notes, and it really won't take long because it is exactly the same as the previous lesson of multiplying integers. And so while you're taking these notes, other groups are going to be practicing all the integer skills we've learned so far. So the division rules are going to be exactly the same as the multiplication rules. We just replace the word product with quotient and the word multiply with divide. So the quotient of two positive integers is positive. The quotient of two negative integers is positive. And you'll notice there is a new poster up on the wall that shows both multiplication, that's in parentheses, and division. There's a little message on my computer screen, so please ignore that. There we go. The quotient of one positive and one negative integer is always negative. So again, two positive integers divided result in a positive answer. Two negative integers divided also result in a positive answer. And one positive and one negative divided together will always result in a negative answer. Sometimes the challenge on both multiplication and division is to recognize the symbols that mean multiplication or division. In elementary school, you may be used to an X for multiplication and the division sign, but now we can just put numbers in parentheses next to each other, and that means multiplication, or we can just put a backslash and that means division. Once you get used to the symbols, it will become easier. So the same key as multiplication works for division. And we'll just fit all the examples on this page. So 10 divided by negative 2 is a positive divided by a negative, and that will have a negative answer. So that's negative 5. Negative 24 divided by 6 is a negative divided by a positive. So the quotient again will be negative. So that's negative 24. Example 2a. 50 divided by 5, that's a positive, divided by a positive. That will have a positive quotient. The answer to that is 10. Example 2b, negative 48 divided by negative 8 is a negative divided by a negative. That will have a positive quotient. Positive 6. If you're having trouble with positives and negatives, one idea is to ignore the negatives and positives. Completely ignore, pretend they're not there. Do the division or the multiplication problem, and then look at the key up on the wall or in your notes and just decide if it's a positive answer or a negative answer. So if you're getting confused, just separate out the negative part. Example 3a, 175. (175) divided by negative 25 is negative 7. Now, to check to see if you're completing these notes and you've gone all the way to the end and you've got all the examples, I'd like you to add one more thing. I would like you to write one question. You could even know the answer to the question. So the last example, example 3b, negative 300 divided by 100, is equal to negative 3. You might even ask, why did I forget the equal sign on example 3b? Notice right here, I forgot the equal sign. You could ask if the rule changes if there's fractions. You could ask, how come the rule is the same for multiplication and division? Just try to write one question in the question column. And my conclusion is a negative divided by a negative is positive. You could even ask why that's true. So just put one question at least in the question column. You can write your own conclusion. You don't have to write the conclusion that I put, but you can take a look at what I wrote. So a negative divided by a negative is always positive, but if there's only one negative when dividing, the answer will be negative. So when dividing, if only one number is negative, the answer will be negative. And you could write a question, what is the answer called when we divide? What word do we use? So remember, please write a question.